next 20 minutes, we're going to do some sharing information about our strategy building and our approach to that, and as well as how the e-learning program fits in with that strategy. At the end, we'll have a little bit of time for Q&A, so please feel free to type in your questions in the chat window or the Q&A, and we will address those at the end of our webinar. And within a week, after this webinar is done, you'll receive a link to the recording. So today, we want to cover a couple different things.
So by the end of our conversation, we hope that you guys will be able to build a skills-based strategy for your employees. And how are you going to do that? Well, hopefully by identifying how the Institute's e-learning program can help you achieve your company's goals, provide a flexible, cost-effective solution, and then deliver consistent on-demand skills training.
So Jennifer, I absolutely love this information that you were able to find on the statistics for a skilled workforce.
Thanks, Shelley. Did you know that according to the Pew Research Center, tectonic changes are reshaping the U.S. workplaces as the economy is moving deeper into the knowledge-focused age? So as you can see from these graphs, the country has been increasing the number of occupations requiring more preparation since 1980. So as you can see, in about 1980, it was kind of the same level, both for higher level and lower level job preparation, but something has changed over the last few years. And then also from this survey, you can see that 54% of respondents view training and skills development as essential throughout their work life.
That is really interesting that the slope on that line, the higher level of job preparation, is so much steeper than the lower. Technology has changed, our jobs have changed over the last many years, and we need to really respond to that with the skills that are developed in our workforce, higher level of skills training. And not just 54% think it's essential, but another 33% think it's important. So 87% of the people that responded to this survey look at workforce development for their career. 87%.
That's a very high number, Shelley.
I completely agree. So when we look at how to build this strategy, and it really is a strategy for how to develop your workforce, and it's a continuing, ongoing strategy. The first question that I like to ask is, where do you want to be and where are you now? So that we're able to identify what your goals are, where you want to be, what that looks like, and then where you're at currently, and look at the skills that are required to get to where you want to be. Look at the skills that your workforce has today and identify where that gap is. Mm-hmm. And identify those specific skills. So once those skills are identified, then we can pair those up with our e-learning modules. So we have several e-learning modules in there that'll address many different metal casting skills. And then you can look at your employees and help them, work with them and build a tailored educational plan for that particular employee to see how they fit within that strategy. And once that's developed, then it's simply just implementing that plan and giving the employee the ability to log into our system, to take the time to go through those actual e-learning modules. And once they're done with those modules, they immediately go back to their jobs and they try out those new skills. So there's going to be an immediate feedback. You got that skill that they really need to learn. They're going to go into the system 15 minutes to 60 minutes in length to go learn that skill and then try it out when they go to their job. And then once they're trying that skill out, we don't just send them out there and go forth and try that new skill, but also monitor the progress. What does that look like in your organization? Did it increase the quality of the castings? Did it increase the quality of the molds they're making? That kind of thing. So we create that feedback loop. Mm-hmm. So once they've done that, you can say, okay, what's next? What's the next level? So we're constantly iterating and improving on that workforce development and increasing our company's performance and our company's goals every year.
I like it. That sounds good, Shelley.
Thanks. It's a lot of fun. So, how would this work? Because, this is a great conceptual idea, but what are we going to do with this? How does this work in an actual facility? So Jennifer and I kind of want to take you through a little bit of a pseudo scenario, if you will. If you're maybe thinking about trying to reduce your scrap rate by 5% a year. Say that's one of your company's goals. And you're producing castings and green sand molds. So Jennifer, what are the departments that contribute to the final quality of your sand cast part?
Your molding department.
Definitely.
Core department.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lab. Quality. Definitely some testing. Is there anything else I'm missing?
Supervisors and management.
Oh, oops.
So what are the skills, the missing skills in those departments? So if we pick on, let's say we pick on molding and sand control quality. And let's say at this organization, there recently was a little bit of a turnover in the molding department, and maybe half their workforce has less than a year of experience. And they took one of those individuals and they moved him up into the sand lab.
Oh, go them.
I know, exactly. Promoting within. It's awesome. Skill development. So say they have that scenario. What does that look like? What kind of skills might they need to achieve their scrap reduction goal in the molding department?
I'm thinking they'll probably need to know about the different components of the green sand system, what goes into everything. Equipment, looking at making sure they understand the parts of the equipment and safety, of course. Let's see here. How about some tests? I'm sure that they have to perform some sort of quality test to make sure that what they're doing is what they're supposed to be doing.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe be able to evaluate the results of, say, a compactability test and be able to use that information to adjust the green sand mix to increase or decrease compactability. Are any of those skills taught in our e-learning modules?
Yeah.
Okay, I was leading you a little bit. So, for example, our green sand raw materials module, what are they going to be able to do when they're done with that e-learning module?
They'll be able to identify the different types of materials that are used in a green sand mold. For example, the different types of sand, additives, clay. We talk about the importance of water, and that's all I can pretty much think about. You know, it's just a little module.
Yeah, like 15 minutes in length. Really just acquaint them with the components, get them started. But then that kind of leads into this green sand preparation and quality control module. So what's in that module?
We do identify some quality tests that should be performed in a green sand molding facility. And I know that just kind of gives them a little snippet as to what kind of quality tests are out there. But our molding core test handbook modules specifically go into those specific tests.
Oh, like for that sand lab technician too. I love those sand test modules. Having performed sand tests way back in the day, there's such a precise procedure that needs to be followed, and being able to interpret those results is essential, and being confident in that I performed the test correctly and that I understood the results I got from the test. So I was constantly going back to that mold and core test handbook. But if you have that e-learning module and you log in the sand lab, go through that simulated environment, make all the mistakes on the computer, of course, and then go and actually perform the test in the lab. It's a great learning tool, but it's also a great refresher for somebody who doesn't do it every day. I love those modules.
We had fun making those modules.
I know you did. You spent a lot of time in the lab making actual videos and pictures to feed into those modules. So it's simulated reality. You know, the students are actually working with the equipment on the computer. So I like that very much. So it sounds like we have a path forward for the student success, so we can produce these high quality green sand molds. But, you know, as we've mentioned before, the students don't have, this is just like short on demand stuff. And I know the students don't have a lot of time sometimes to engage with the system because we can't stop production.
True.
So that's one of my favorite things about this too. Short, right when they need it. Awesome. So after we're done with this, do we think that the scrap rate should decrease?
I would hope so, yeah, because they would come back with some new skills. They would be able to identify maybe some issues that they had been having, so that then they can change that behavior so that then they can be doing what they really should be doing.
Love Love that. So it's a quantifiable
Mm-hmm.
and there's a value to the organization and to the student.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if they've, changed something over and their scrap rate has decreased, I bet they would probably feel very good about themselves that they were able to identify it, take steps, and make it a better situation.
Love that. It's a win-win all around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we gave this example of the green sand case study, but there are other categories in our system that relate to chemically bonded sand molding, as well as aluminum alloy production, copper casting, steel, iron.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's really something in there for all aspects of our metal casting facilities.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of that, Shelley, I have some fun facts to share. So our e-learning system was launched July 1st of 2016 with just 20 modules.
Oh, that was fun, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
I remember that day when we went live.
I think that was a Friday.
It was a Friday.
But since then, we have actually now developed 65 modules, and we have over 4,100 students in our e-learning system. And those 65 modules are kind of broken down into 13 topics. Uh-oh, there's that 13 again.
Lucky 13.
Yeah. And to date, the students have completed over 2,100 modules, and they have another 1,000 modules that they're still in progress with.
We've really grown the system
Mm-hmm.
in a year, little over a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We've tripled the number of modules that were in there from when we launched, and we have over 4,000 students in the system.
Mm-hmm.
It's mind-blowing.
And let's see, our top 4 categories are defects, quality control, processes, and design. And we have cast iron, defects, and green sand molding as the highest number of completed modules.
And to be fair, those are the modules that have been the longest in the system too.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what the next year is going to bring to see how those figures change.
We should challenge the aluminum, copper, and steel folks to try to beat the cast iron in the system. Just put a little challenge out there to the group. So why AFS Institute eLearning, my friend?
Well, first off, it's pretty flexible. You can take it when you want it, when you need it, and it's available on different platforms. So I know it's available in Chrome, Explorer, Safari.
Ooh, can I use my iPad?
Yes, you can.
So instead of binging on Netflix in the evening, I should be binging on AFS Institute eLearning.
I would recommend it, Shelley.
Oh, I should do that. I'm gonna binge tonight on AFS Institute eLearning.
And our e-learning also provides lots of practical skills that you guys can use on the shop floor, and it's very interactive. You're not sitting there passively observing what you're looking at. Like we said, the sand testing modules, you are performing that test in an e-learning environment.
Absolutely. And we're an industry of doers and makers.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure that our educational programs are following what we do in our industry. Very hands-on,
Mm-hmm.
very interactive.
Well, and I want to also mention that our education was created with help from our experts out there in the industry. So we could not have created these modules without them.
Absolutely not. And not only do they contribute technical content, but they also help us to identify where the skills gaps are, what are the really important factors for jobs and for departments. And so we do start with those learning objectives for our modules, and we build the technical content around those skills that we want to develop.
Mm-hmm.
So big thank you to our members and the people out in metal casting that have contributed as subject matter experts too.
We really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. And I just want to also mention that here in-house, we also do provide support. That support is either getting you guys on board and ready to go in the e-learning system, or letting you guys know the latest and greatest educational strategies out there so we can help you guys be successful out there.
Yeah. And when you do invest in an e-learning subscription or even just an e-learning module, we have onboarding services in-house. So if you want us to help you get started, if you want us to help you build a strategy or see how this integrates into your workforce development, your onboarding plan, we are more than happy to do that. And if you want to take a peek into the system, we're available through, great technology like this Zoom interface for demos of our system, where you can talk with us, ask all the questions, see the inside of the system, see some e-learning modules. The web demos are also fun for us because we get an interface with you guys and really understand your concerns and needs for e-learning and for workforce development in general.
To make it better for everybody.
Absolutely.
These questions, speaking of that, Shelley, these questions that we've had with users in the past, they've helped create the FAQ that is out there on the website.
Ooh, yeah.
So we also have some free tools out there on our website that you can actually perform a couple of modules, getting your staff onboarded. Is that a word? I'm not sure.
Onboarded? I think so.
And then, of course, like I mentioned, the FAQ. So those questions came from individuals that have reached out to us to say, hey, I have a question, and we did our best to answer it. And we assume that if somebody has a question, somebody else probably has the same question.
Absolutely. So with that said, we do have quite a few users in the system. So what are they saying about us, Jennifer? What are, not to, get too involved here, but do you want to hear what Glenn said about us?
Yeah.
Okay. So Glenn said the AFS e-learning modules are now a part of the learning and development process for key positions within our production and quality departments. The modules' content and examples provide consistency for the building and the transferring of knowledge with seasoned and new workers in specific areas of the operations. Charlotte Pipe is actually one of the gold stars as far as our users as well. I've gotten feedback from them as far as their staff saying, I really feel valued because you've invested in my development. And I know that's kind of an intangible. We're talking about value, but one of those intangibles is having a dedicated and positive and enthusiastic workforce. Mm-hmm. And when your management invests in you, I think that's just an amazing end result of that.
Well, Shelley, I'm going to share with you what Alex Heimsoff has to say. I really appreciate the training, and the e-learning management system is really easy to use.
Easy to use. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so we appreciate that.
Absolutely. And Tim Brown said, the AFS e-learning program provides great value. As we transition generationally, the courses cost-effectively train on-site without travel. I mean, that's one thing in our industry, the aging of our workforce. We want to not only capture that content through those subject matter expertise, but also transfer it to the next generation so that we can continue to build that skill set and train our new employees that are coming in.
Mm-hmm. And then just a few weeks ago, I was talking with Catherine Kurinsky from Simpson Technologies, and she stated, the e-learning modules are perfect for training our new hires and setting continuing education goals for our employees. So it sounds like they want to do kind of what we were talking about today.
It sounds like they're on board with a strategy already.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So what's on the horizon as far as our e-learning program, Ms. Morton?
Well, two major projects we're working on. The first one is our Spanish language modules. So we are taking 21 of our existing modules and we're translating them into Spanish. So as you can see, we're going to be translating our big picture to the casting process, all of our defects modules. I think there's 7 cast iron modules, and 6 green sand molding modules.
And those have been requested over the last year to have it in those in Spanish language as well. So we listen to your comments, your feedback, and we respond in kind. So we appreciate you guys being in the system, so that feedback is amazing. What about new skills?
Well, we're also developing some new e-learning modules. So we'll be adding to our alloy defect modules. We will be creating some more sand testing modules, and new topics that we're going to be touching on are purchasing castings, lean manufacturing, permanent mold and lost foam, as well as kind of diving into the heat treatment section.
That's excellent. I'm really looking forward to the purchasing of castings. I know that's been a topic that's been on our radar for a long time. So it'll be nice to have some e-learning modules to reach out to the design and purchasing community for castings. So in addition to e-learning, we also have instructor-led training at the Institute, and we've got over 35 classes now in our course catalog. And those classes are hosted here in Schaumburg, and we have a calendar projected out through or scheduled out through the end of June. We can also do those as chapter-sponsored courses. So we can come, if you're an AFS chapter member, you can speak up at your chapter and say, hey, let's bring the AFS Institute to our region. We'll come to you guys, you help us market the course, and then we will help do all the execution of the course. Or we could do this as an in-plant training. So say you build that e-learning strategy, you say you build your entire workforce development strategy and e-learning is a component of it. We can also integrate in-plant training to help you complete your strategy for metal casting skills training. And Jennifer, I absolutely like this quote that you found. I think that you should leave us with this final thought.
As a leader, you have the opportunity to provide the context and the purpose for why you ask your employees to learn something or to do anything for that matter. So we really hope that you guys take this opportunity to support your employees. By choosing our e-learning education, you are providing them with the knowledge or context and skills or the purpose that they will need every day at their work.
All right, and as we promised, we're going to review the questions that were asked throughout the webinar. So when do you think the Spanish language versions will be available, Jennifer? Would you like to answer that one?
We're hoping to launch 2 of them by the end of November, and then the rest of them will be staggered out and hopefully by early 2018.
Wonderful. I don't really see any other questions here. So unless in the next couple of minutes you guys post one, I think Jennifer and I are just going to do our final wrap-ups now for the webinar. So if you want to learn more about our e-learning, the website is afsinc.org/e-learning. afsinc.org/e-learning. And I am Shelley Duttler, Director of Education with the Institute. My email address is sduttler@afsinc.org.
And I'm Jennifer Morton. I'm the e-learning project manager. And my email address is jmorton@afsinc.org.
And we welcome any questions about e-learning, instructor-led training, or workforce development strategies in general. So thank you all for tuning in and listening, asking a great question. And if you have any other questions, our contact information is there. Thank you.
Have a good day.